Welcome to Personal Finance Lab. My name is Nicole Severiano and I'm the Senior Account Manager here. Today we're going to be going over how to get our challenges created, some of our great options that we have available, and some of our new updates. First, let's go ahead and get logged in. So you have two options. Students can either use a username and password that either you or they have created, or they can use Google Classroom if that's an option available in your class. Great, so now we are on the Instructor Dashboard. So there are a few things on here that are pretty important for teachers. You can put little announcements here for your class, such as test on Friday, don't forget your homework, things like that. You can also see some of the recent forum posts. This is where you can actually chat with their students inside the classroom. So if your students ever need some advice or they have a question to ask, they can put that in here and everyone can reply to it right on the screen. You will see some top traded securities within your classroom. You will see the rankings as well as the assignment progress, showing how students are progressing through their assignments. So first things first, let's go ahead and get our first challenge created. So first thing it's going to ask us is for our challenge name. You want to be pretty descriptive here just to ensure that students know that this is your class that they are joining. You can go ahead and put in your challenge description. This is just a way for students to know what will be included in their challenge. You let us know how many participants. You can also choose to have your contest public or private. Really, the main difference here is if you choose for it to be private, you put in a quick password. This way it ensures that no other students will join that do not belong there. You can also choose your registration start and end date. Keep in mind, this is only for when your students can actually register their accounts, not for when they can trade or play the budget game. You'll also get to choose your time zone here as well, and if you'd like to have the form option that we discussed previously. Keep in mind, at any time, if there is anything inappropriate, you can either turn the form on or off, or you can delete any messages that may be inappropriate. Next, we have the portfolio settings. So as you can see here, you have the option to either turn the stock game on or off. So if you'd like to set up your challenges separate with just a stock game and just a budget game, that is available as well. So next thing here, we have the currency of the portfolio. So as you can see, we have a lot of different options available for you. If you want your students to learn about trading on a foreign exchange or trading with a foreign currency, you can do that right here. You'll also choose the trading start and end date. This is for the trade settings themselves. It will let students know how long they can actually make trades on the game. Most teachers will set this up for their full semester. It's usually best to have it a minimum of 6 weeks so that students get a good feel for the market. You'll also be able to choose their starting cash, even the interest earned on cash. So there are a few options available here, buying a margin, day trading, short selling. These might be terms that your students might not be familiar with. So at any time, you can actually start it off at no, and once your students learn what these terms mean by doing some assignments that are available on the site, you can switch these to yes at any time. You can also choose the minimum stock price for buying. This way it disables any penny stock trading. You can make the portfolios public if you'd like your students to be able to see each other's portfolio. And the option that is the most fun that I always recommend to teachers is to include yourself in the rankings. So this means that a teacher will be able to actually play along with their students. The students will see them in their rankings. So this will keep the engagement going even more because students just want to play against the teacher and have that competition. We also have sharp ratio as well as alpha beta rankings. You can switch these to yes and at any time switch them to no, depending on how your class is working. We also have a new badge option. What this does is it will show off their students' badges in the rankings page. As they move up and progress through different things on the website, they will receive these badges, achievements that are available. So students will be able to see the achievements that they have already achieved. They can click here and choose which one they'd like to make as their display picture, which will be here, as well as in the budget game. And then they can also see all the badges that are in progress. If I can click on any, it will show me what is needed, what I've already done, and how much is completed. So as you can see here, I need to trade 25 stocks. I've done 11, so I'm at about 44% complete. Once I do make those other 14 trades, I will be able to receive this badge and it will be in my achievements up here. This does give it a little bit more of a competition because when students click on each other's, they can see what they each have and it pushes them to achieve more. Moving forward to the trades themselves, you can choose anywhere from 10 to 1,000 trades for your student. You can even limit the amount of trades they do per day. And another great option we have is to actually require students to do trade notes. This way, students will have to write a short little paragraph explaining why they are making these trades. This way, you as a teacher will have access to all of this in your reporting tool to see why your students are making these trades. Moving on to security types, as you can see, everything is available here. You have stocks, equities, ETFs, so you can pick and choose which ones you'd like to fit in your classroom. You'll also get to choose the commission type as well as the commission cost. Moving forward to the exchanges, everything is available here, North America, Latin, Europe, as well as future. Everything is real-time, real data, and we even now have the cryptocurrency option that's very popular with high school students. Moving forward to the budget game. So in the budget game, you take the role of a college student with a part-time job or a full-time worker. You as a teacher will have the options to choose whatever you'd like. So you can choose the budget game dates, start and end, and then you'll have a couple options available here. If you'd like your student to just have a part-time job while they're going to school, you can choose that. You can choose them to start with a full-time job, or you can choose them to start with a part-time job and graduate into their full-time. You will be able to choose how many months it takes for your students to graduate, and then how many months the total game will be played for. Keep in mind each month does take about 20 minutes or so to complete. So you will have some options available here to choose how much is in their checking account, how much how much they get paid per hour, as well as their income tax. Here we see all of the bills and expenses. So as you can see on the left-hand side, we have all of the part-time workers' expenses, and on the right-hand side, we have all of the full-time workers' bills and expenses. There are some that are specifically only for full-time workers, such as student loan, as well as health insurance. So these you can add in and you can put them at whatever cost you would like. Now to get our assignment set up. First things first, what you're going to want to do is name your list of assignments. A lot of teachers will set it up week by week. You can put in your start and your end date, even so much as right down to the minute. So if you want to make sure your students have completed their work by Friday at 3 o'clock, we can punch this in. And we would just tick off whichever lessons we'd like them to complete. And there's even a new prerequisite option. What this does is it allows you to set up a prerequisite before your students can move forward onto the next set of assignments. We even have a new reward section where if they complete these lessons, they can get money into their budget game or their stock game. So as you can see, we have a lot of different subjects that we go over. There's well over 300 different assignments and activities that you and your students can enjoy. And at the very end, there is a final assessment option where the system will actually generate the test for you. It will take questions from other assignments you've chosen in the past, create one final assessment, and this way you can see what your students have grasped throughout the year. So moving forward to the registration. So you have two options to get your students registered. You can either send them this link and they click on it and create their own username and password, or do it through Google Classroom. The second option, if your school is very strict on their privacy laws, you can actually click here, let us know how many students you have, and we will send you those username and passwords that you can forward to your students. So now that we have our challenge created, let's head over to our dashboard and make our first trade. So if we look at our portfolio, we're going to see that it is empty. So first things first, what we do is we mention some popular stocks that are being traded. Some students are a little bit hesitant to make that first trade because they are not really sure what a stock even is. So what this does, it will actually show them some popular stocks that they might be more familiar with, as most students do keep the buy what they know mentality. So Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, these are companies that they are aware of. So at any time they can click here and make their trade. Or if they do know the company they'd like to make a trade, they can head over here. They not only have to put in the company name, we will give them the ticker symbol as well as a full company overview. So they'll be able to see the company profile, company news, analyst rating, price history, financial statements, as well as detailed quotes. This way we ensure that students no longer have to go onto any third-party website. All the information is right here on the page for them. So let's go ahead and purchase some of this. Preview, put in our trade note, and go ahead and confirm. So now that we have that, it will be in our open positions and we are ready to go. Let's head over now to our budget game. So as you can see here, our objective is we are a college student working a part-time job, so students will know where they're beginning. And they can also click how to play, and it will show them a little PowerPoint as well as a short video on how to play the game itself. So first things first, what we want to do is choose where we're going to live. As you know, previously you set up the parameters on how much the rent will cost. Now students will have an option to choose something a little bit cheaper or something more expensive. The same thing with their TV and their internet plan, their cell phone plan, and even their grocery plan. So now let's go over the ribbon. So at the very top, we have our net worth, our credit score, our quality of life, our savings balance, checkings, as well as our credit limit. So everything is pretty self-explanatory except for the quality of life. So in our opinion, every other budget game available, the main goal was to save as much money as you can and build your credit score. Of course, any student can run through the game, save every penny they've ever earned, and save as much money as they can. But this is not realistic. In life, sometimes we do want to spend that $6 extra on a Starbucks coffee. It can make your day and make you a little bit happier. So what we've taken into consideration here is just that. With the quality of life score, we take all the extras that you are purchasing throughout your game, and it will build onto your quality of life, which does build onto your game scores as well. So let's move forward and go ahead and roll the dice. But before we can continue, we do have a short little assignment we'd like your students to complete. If you read here, it's going to ask us what our annual interest rate is for our for our credit card. So we go ahead and we click View Lesson. You'll see here a short pop-up comes up with a little article for students to read. They go through it here. It will give them all of their information on how to use their credit and their debit card. And if you notice, it shows me my annual interest rate right here at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and return to the game and write in that it's going to be 20%. I've gotten it correct, so I've received $25. If a student does not get it correct, they will lose $10 and then also will not be able to move forward until they get the answer correct. Now we're going to continue to move forward because we did receive a 6. Keep in mind every day has an AM and a PM, so it takes 2 dice rolls to move past one day. So first card that we receive is our friends making cookies, and we want to head to the store to buy some ingredients. So there are 3 types of cards that will come up. First, such as this one, you will not have the option to say yes or no to it. You will only have the option to choose a debit or credit. The second type of card that comes up, you will see students will have the option to say yes or no. For an example, it will ask if you'd like to purchase AAA for your car. You will be able to say yes or no. The third type of card that comes up, we call them quiz time cards. This is where students will get a little multiple choice question that comes up and they choose the correct answer. So let's go ahead now and pay for our cookie ingredients with our credit card. And as you can see here, our credit limit is at $300 and our credit limit is at $250. So let's go ahead and pay that by our credit card. And then at any time, I can pay my credit card off. It will not only increase my credit score, but my credit limit has increased as well. So now that it is the weekends, we're going to be asking students what they'd like to do with the extra time that they have. They can either work extra hours, socialize with their friends, do some household chores, or study. So keep in mind, we advise students they should be choosing each of these periodically throughout their months. If students are always working extra hours, they may fall behind on their studies and have to pay for a tutor, or even fall behind on their household chores and have to pay for an exterminator because they now have cockroaches. So every choice a student makes in the game does have different repercussions depending on how they're choosing. So let's go ahead for now and we will choose to do some household chores. Oh great, we've cleaned out our apartment and taken all of our cans to the local recycler. We can get an extra $15 right into our bank account. So let's keep moving forward now. Great, now we have a quiz time card. So as you see here, it's just a little multiple choice question. It asks, what is an apprenticeship? So we go ahead and click the correct answer, and now we can move forward. So we see a poster online for sale. We're going to go ahead and buy that. We'll pay with our debit card, and you'll notice my checking balance will decrease. If you notice here on the sides, our bills are starting to pile up. So it wants to make sure that we pay our rent by the 9th, which you can see here, and our cell phone bill by the 12th. That's right here. So let's go ahead and pay for our rent. We'll pay for it with our debit card and put in the total amount here. If at any time you're only able to pay a percentage of it, you can do so by putting in a smaller number here. But keep in mind there are late fees if you don't pay on time. So as we've completed our first week, it's going to ask us to build our monthly budget. So it's going to show us how many hours we're going to be working this month. So we can go ahead and put that in here. Then it's going to show us all of our expenses for the month, and it will ask us to estimate some other expenses that we think will come up this month. So let's go in and put in an extra $250. Here it will show us our expected net income. We advise students they should be trying to save a minimum of 10%. So let's go ahead and put in 10%. And once I do reach my target goal, I will receive more quality of life points as well as more game score points. And as you can see, with all the choices I've been making, my quality of life has gone up as well as my game score. Time to pay for our groceries. Let's go ahead and pay that with our credit card. Great. So we're getting worried about losing all of your music and schoolwork, so we want to pay for a cloud file storage system for the year. So do we pay for the fee or do we use a free one? Keep in mind, some actions have consequences. So if I do choose to use a free service, I may lose all of my files in the future. So I think it's best that we go ahead and buy the annual subscription and pay for that with our debit card. So we're having some friends over to watch some terrible movies. We head to the convenience store to pick up some chips and dip for entertainment. Let's go ahead and pay that with our debit card as well. So students start to realize that things do pop up every day and they will have to spend money more than they anticipate. So this is a great learning point as well for students. So neighbors are complaining about the noise, so your landlord has charged you a fee. Most students have no idea this is even a possibility and they would have never asked. The point of our game here is to start bringing up these subjects and have kids ask questions because once the questions are being asked, students are really learning about it and grasping the concepts. And they also get to make the mistakes here first before they make them in their real life. So now that we have completed our first week, we do get our first paycheck. So it's going to show us how much hours we worked, how much tips we received. If we would have played the bonus games, we would have gotten some extra money here, and all of our deductions. This way, students aren't so shocked when they first receive their paycheck and wonder where all their money's going. So let's go ahead and deposit that into our bank account. And then at any time, we can actually put our money from our checkings to our savings account. So let's go ahead and put in $50. And now our savings balance has gone up. So students will roll the dice and periodically get different types of cards that will come up. So even though a student sitting next to each other has the same card, it does not mean their exact story will be the same. Depending on the choices they make, the game does have a different impact. This way, like I mentioned, they can all have different types of games depending on what they choose. At any time as well, students are able to see a full account summary and all of their information that they've chosen throughout the game. We can also head over to our rankings, and students will be able to see everybody here and also even click on their badge to see what they have. We can also check out our statements and are even able to export everything into Google Sheets or through Excel. This way, you can even use this as further classwork within the classroom. Well, thank you very much for listening to our Personal Finance Lab webinar, where we showed you how to gamify your classroom. If you have any questions or would like a quote for your classroom, send us an email at sales@stocktrak.com.